We are back at the BRDC with some familiar faces. It's Monty and Jess, and the three of us are the presenters and commentators of the Sim Racing Series as part of Formula Student. We had the final on Tuesday of Formula Student Week over at Williams. It was spectacular, wasn't it, guys?
It was the perfect finish to what's been the closest season of racing we've had yet. We've had a different winner in each of the rounds building up to this. We had 5 championship contenders going into the final round, and the champion was physically present at Williams as well. The atmosphere was electric for me.
There was over 120 students at the Williams, and I think they all made their faculties proud. It was really great to see the variety of races that we had, and I really enjoyed watching them, and it was a lot closer than we thought. And the rivalry between York and Hull in the final race, it was quite interesting for me.
I've been reviewing that footage. I have opinions on that. I've been looking back at that, and as far as I can make out, although York had outpaced Hull down that straight, Hull were close enough, and I get the feeling that York turned in prematurely. I think York could have held off and waited a couple of seconds before turning in.
Yeah, potentially, but hindsight is 2020. They were both in the heat of the moment. They were both trying to go for the final podium in the final race of the season.
Impeccable racing.
Impeccable racing, and to be honest, I probably would have done exactly the same if I was in that driving seat as well, because it was a kind of all or nothing at that point. Really.
It really was, do or die. And in advance, hello to York in the comments. No doubt we'll be hearing from them. Throughout the season, it's been fantastic. We really have had a great season, as you say, and it's not just about the sim racing itself, it's also about the engineering challenges, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was everything to do with it. Actually, let's just go back to round 1 first before we just move on to the engineering challenge, because I think when we were first with the minis at Croft and Southampton just
dominated.
Won both races, fastest lap, oh, here we go, time for redemption, it's going to be one of those kind of seasons. And that wasn't the case, because afterwards, every single race was then won by a different team. Teams who weren't historically doing well in the past were suddenly up there, like Hertfordshire out of nowhere in the NASCAR round. Both of their teams are on the podium. It's like, where's this come from? York, obviously, Dylan Warren, their superstar drivers, turned up and rocks up, wins a race. It's like, suddenly York were coming up through the ranks as well. Dublin as well, and of course our champions Queen Mary, who only entered last season and were just about getting into the top 10. So they only won 1 race all season, but they were relentless with their points.
This was something I was saying to the team, is that Queen Mary weren't a very dramatic team. They weren't caught up in any of the big narratives of each round, but they were there consistently in the points and getting a lot of them, quietly getting on with the task in hand, and it worked out incredibly well for them.
I think they were the most consistent, and they learned a lot as well from the engineering challenges, and they learned a lot of what they can do to improve as well. And they were just there week in, week out. And on their Joker, that's where I saw that they were going to perform well. I made a bold prediction at the start of the season. Yes, Queen Mary's going to do well. And then after the second race, I was proved right, and they were on the podium each and every race. And they had 2 amazing drivers. And it was great to watch their VT, wasn't it?
It really was. Anastasia did a great job on the VT, and those 2 drivers as a pairing, excellent stuff.
Yeah, fantastic work from all of them. And the camaraderie, just seeing them at Williams, said a lot. But ironically, that consistency should have been to their disadvantage, because it's best 6 of 7 scores. So as they were the most consistent, they had the most points to drop compared to York, who only had 4 points. They had 60 points to drop. And that was ironically where the engineering challenges came back and saved them in the end, because that was close as well. For the last 2 seasons, Glasgow's won every single one of those challenges we've done. Their data analysis has been perfect. Their interpretation of the challenges, you couldn't flaw. And the way that they delivered the reports as well, they really got the memo. They got what the purpose of the challenges were about, because it wasn't about doing like your final year projects. It wasn't about submitting an assignment. There was no need for essays. Pretend you're handing this to a senior engineer who's only got 2 minutes to read this. How are you going to get this information through to them? And the different types of graphs that they were showing, the different types of communication styles, that was why they had just dominated us for the last 2 seasons. They had carried on with that this season, like their scores were the same from the judges, but the others had caught up. And I think that's a testament to the other teams for listening to the webinars, for listening to the judges who had kindly given up their time to assess and to give feedback to the students. Because, you know, this is all extracurricular in addition even to Formula Student. They're willingly logging on to Teams at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening to come and listen to some professional talk about, right, this is what we liked about your work, this is what we didn't like about your work, this is where you could kind of take it on board. And to listen to it and to take this on board, and particularly those who got their first and second year students on board as well, that's a lot of knowledge share going on there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this translates into the main FS event over the next 2 years. But it was demonstrated. Glasgow still won it overall, but it wasn't as easy. Leicester won, and of course Strathclyde, the first team to finally knock Glasgow off their perch. It was so much closer. And Queen Mary, of course, in the very final round.
Which is exactly what they needed to do to make up that points deficit. And hence why they came out on top in the end. And we had a great time at Williams. Williams were fantastic hosts. We had 120 people there. And I think that photograph that's been seen a few times across your social media platforms on the Yomeki's Instagram, it really summarises the event. There was a real buzz this year. And it was a real pleasure to be a part of.
Yes, absolutely, and a huge thank you to Atlassian Williams for all your help, for all the hospitality, for entrusting 120 students to run amok in your facility, which had 40 years worth of F1 cars going around there as well. You entrusted us a lot. And I hope that we rewarded that trust handsomely, because I honestly thought the students were perfect advocates for their universities, and I hope we get to welcome them back again next year as well.
They really were absolutely impeccable. I'm looking forward to next season already. As event captain, I've got to ask, what have you got up your sleeve? Why am I not surprised?
He's probably going to be thinking a lot.
The lips are staying firmly sealed for now, because I don't want to give anything away. I do not want to give any teams any competitive advantages. It was very competitive this season, and there were many loopholes turned, so nothing's being published now. I, however, would like to call on our students, if possible, to come join us on the servers over the summer, come test some of the mods with us. We've had a lot of feedback of what you thought of the mods that we gave you this season. We're all volunteers, and it's community driven here. This is your series and we want you to get the most out of it. So if you find something out there which perhaps we haven't seen yet, we'd love to see what other combinations are out there, what other mods you have out there, and yeah, ensure that you can get the most out of this this series as well.
And speaking of combinations, one of my favourite races was the Charlotte Roval in the NASCAR cars. That was really good. And also the first time ever we did endurance, where we did 2 1-hour races around Mugello. Really cracking wet weather, which I think threw a lot of the teams out, to be honest. And yeah, those 2 races, in my opinion, stood out, and it was great that you brought that into the sim racing series, but a lot of teams really enjoyed it.
I can't take credit for that. That is going straight to the volunteers who've given up their time, who run the service now on my behalf. I can't oversee the whole project now. We have 2 event captains, sorry, I'm the event captain. We have 2 race directors who oversee it, and a fantastic team who create all the skins, admin all the servers as well. And I have to say those skins have been really good this year, haven't they?
Oh boy howdy, have they been something. They've been like the generic race ones have been impeccable from start to finish across the field. They've just been sublime, and I love how they're tailored to each team's colours and each team's logos, and they really do reflect the team's energy, which is really wonderful. It is rather hot here, and as a result we're getting a fair few flies and other flying insects around and about.
I've been having a lot of wasps attacking.
Yeah, we've had a lot of wasps
well,
here at FS25.
And did you know Monty is allergic to wasps? So that's why we're trying to move out of the way for him so he doesn't get stung by a wasp.
If you come back to another edition and we've just got a cardboard cutout, there was a wasp attack.
Yes, exactly.
We've also had some very comedic skins as well, which have always been wonderful. And if you want to watch the coverage of the sim racing, it's always available on the Yomeki's Formula Student YouTube channel. It's there every month. As Monty was saying, if you're involved in this or want to get involved, get on the servers now over the summer. Put your money where your mouth is. If you've got problems, raise them now, because once we get into the season, day jobs take over. It becomes more of a time crunch. It's all well and good finding the problems then. Find the problems now. Get involved. If you know what you're talking about, get in touch. And we look forward, as Jess was saying, some more action like we saw at Charlotte, like we saw during the endurance. It's been impeccable this season, and it can only go one way, upwards. Make sure you're there.
Dan behind the wheel for Queen Mary, top hat Tyler behind the wheel for Hull, Dylan Warren behind the wheel for York A. The three of them incredibly close together. A tap on one could spell disaster for all three. Is exactly what Queen Mary need to avoid. They need a clean finish to this race.
Contact being made between the barrels. They're going to lose time for Queen Mary here.
They touch! And was it inevitable, Jess? Are on the black and orange of the team from London. Here comes Queen Mary Formula Student to take the Sim Racing Championship.
Absolutely amazing from Queen Mary in their second season. They must be delighted.
Queen Mary Formula Student are your champions for the 24 to 25 season.